The YouTube Bug by PegasisterTheBrony. The tags for the story are comedy, random, adventure, alternate universe, human. All of our favorite YouTubers have randomly disappeared into a strange and unknown place. Twilight Sparkle has no idea what to do when dozens upon dozens of ponies tumble from the sky into the center of Ponyville. One thing is obvious though, and it's that these ponies were not ponies from the start. Now, Twilight needs to figure out where to send these ponies, how to get them there, and learn more about the creatures they once were. This is one of the hardest tasks Twilight has ever attempted, but she can do it with the help of her friends, right? The ponies that star in the story are original characters, other characters, and the main six. Prologue: You're gonna have a bad time, with 1,273 words. Mark Fishbach sat down at his desk in his office with a sense of lightheartedness. A mug of coffee in his hands, headphones around his neck, and the sound of the Sindago guys fooling around in the kitchen. No, nothing was quite like being a YouTuber. Already he knew that he would have to play a game that he quite enjoyed, but also dreaded. The latest trend in horror, Until Dawn. Mark was nearly finished with the game, of course, and was used to the way the game operated, but a small feeling of resistance had long since settled in his stomach, as the gore and static figures were nothing to look forward to at all. Shaking his head, Mark pulled himself back into reality, readying his controller and monitor for the gameplay. Gameplay was something that he loved, and no stupid jump scare was going to keep him from recording for his subscribers. Leaning forward, he started up his webcam. After a quick double check to be sure that the screen recording software was running, he took a deep breath for his intro, beginning the trademark words. Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier, and welcome back to... He was cut off by the sound of a plate clattering into the ground in the kitchen, along with abrupt silence. Forgetting about his Let's Play for a second, Mark leaned back in his chair, calling out to the kitchen. Guys, everything okay? Still, silence followed. Removing his headphones, he called out to them again, curious and slightly worried at the lack of a response. Guys, are you in there? Once again, there was no reply, and this was the deal breaker. Quickly, he removed his headphones and rose from his chair to investigate, swiping away some stray pink strands of hair as he did so. Before he could take a step, Mark's world suddenly went black. The camera was still recording. The only thing that Matthias first felt was the sensation of falling. A heavy, vague, unconscious falling, in which he could not stop, so he was forced to let it happen. The YouTuber was completely numb to his senses, as he only saw darkness, felt only the air whooshing past him. For a brief moment, he considered that he could be dead. No, that can't be. I'm not dead. Am I? Matthias's mind began to race as he considered where his life had been. His family, his friends, his wife, whom he loved so much, Amanda. If he really was dead, where were they all mourning for him now? It seemed unlikely, as it was difficult to imagine his life without himself. But Matthias knew that life always moved on, regardless of who left and who stayed. Continuing to fall, Matthias slowly became numb to his own thoughts as he fell for minutes, and then hours. He was beginning to feel as if he was ebbing away into nothing. But then the first dot of light began to shine. The first little ray of hope became visible. As he began to near it, an overwhelming sense of joy began to fill him from head to toe as he stretched his arms out to the light, desperate to reach it. Slowly, the light began to expand, and Matthias got closer and closer still, until at last he passed through the opening in the abyss, crossing into the daylight at last. However, after he continued to plunge through the air even when he was past the eternal blackness, Matthias felt true panic surge through him as the ground rushed towards him at a terrifying speed. Gulping, he braced himself for death. Before he impacted, though, Matthias felt two strange-feeling arms cross underneath his back, hoisting him mid-air almost unnaturally. Jerking his head from side to side, Matthias saw one of the strangest sights he had ever seen. To his left, a bright yellow Pegasus, with a highly contrasting blue mane, smiled at him, as if she were unsure of what to make of the situation. To his right, a smoky gray stallion with a mane that was a combination of light blues stared at him from a blank expression, clearly analyzing him. Before Matthias could say anything to them, however, a demanding voice sounded from above. Thunderlane, raindrops, get that unicorn to the ground, we've got to keep going. It was at this moment when Matthias finally looked upon himself. And and screamed. Jack McLaughlin was simply astounded. He was watching a bright cyan pony, with wings and rainbow hair, zip through the sky left and right, directing even more pastel-colored winged ponies to carry yet another variety of ponies. Some winged, some horned, some just ponies, but all of them continued to be multicolored. Jack was also confused that he, too, was a brightly colored horse. He seemed to have a coat that was a slightly darker shade of green, with well-kept brown hair and a tail to match. Both his name and tail also sported his trademark shock of lime green, the recent result of a charity livestream that had been hosted by Markiplier. On Jack's head rested his trusty gray newsboy cap, and his headphones, now wireless, were still looped around his longer and then thicker neck. Possibly the strangest thing about his new form, however, was the rather strangely placed cartoonish image of Sam the Septic Eye that was set on his rump. Sam the Septic Eye, right on his butt. To be honest, he couldn't think of anything stranger than that. Realizing that he had been staring rather intently at his own rump, Jack ripped away his gaze, deciding to once more contemplate why in the heck he was here. With a quick look around, he saw that several of the equines around him were dazed or panicking, a clear sign that they were just as new here as he was. Already, Jack knew that these ponies were not the ones to ask. That is, of course, if he can still talk. Marching up to a rather neutral-looking pony, a slightly teal unicorn with golden eyes, Jack reaching out to poke her, feeling rather awkward using a hoof. Making contact with her shoulder, the pretty mare turned her head to face him as the YouTuber quickly pulled his hoof back. "Did you need something?" she asked politely, tilting her head out a bit towards the earth pony who stood before her. Jack's face almost instantly contorted into an awkward expression, as he was inwardly trying to convince himself to openly talk to a horse. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, are you human?" "Well, yeah, I guess. What I wanted to say was, I knew they existed. Yes! What? Listen, could you just... Oh, please tell me everything. Do you have cars? Do you eat meat? How do you sit on benches? Will you please just tell me what the buck I am?" Jack's eyes widened in shock. He could have sworn that he intended to say, "Buck. Buck. 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 Why can't I say Buck?" The strange unicorn simply watched his mental breakdown, clearly amused at what she was seeing. "You humans are used to cussing, aren't you?" Turning around to walk away, the pony quickly called a few parting words over her shoulder. "You're gonna have a bad time.